All right, guys, welcome. We are going to be looking at our bees needs data today, and we're going to be graphing it and then interpreting those graphs. So we're going to do this step by step together in the video. We should have already watched our video on the bees, and we should have already come up with our hypothesis for pollinator nest timing and how it's determined. Remember, guys, your hypothesis doesn't have to be perfect or spot on, but just make sure you have those things filled out before we get started today. So the first thing I want you guys to do is open your Gmail account for the school, and I want you to go to your Google Drive, and I want you to create a folder. You can see I have a ton of folders and stuff. I'm going to create a folder. I just right-clicked and clicked New Folder, and I'm going to title it The Bees Needs. You can create your folder and do biology, whatever you choose, just as long as it's somewhere that you know you can store your information for today. So there's my Bees Needs folder, and right now it's empty, and that's okay. All right, so we pushed out the link to you for this spreadsheet called Pollinator Phenology. This is a view-only file, so what you're going to have to do is make a copy. Okay? So I made a copy by clicking File, Make a Copy, and I'm going to rename my spreadsheet after my species team. So for the purpose of giving you this example, my species team is called Hylias. So I put species team Hylias, and then I kept the pollinator phenology name in there, and then right here under folder, I'm going to select the folder that I created in my drive. So I'm going to have to go all the way back to my drive, double click, find my folder, and push select. Okay, I'm going to push OK, and a copy will pop up for me right here. Okay, so your copy is going to pop up, and the first thing that you're going to see is this data right here. But if you look down at the bottom, there's multiple sheets on this spreadsheet. Okay, you have a spreadsheet for data that goes with the anthrax bees. So if that's your species, you're only going to be looking at this data. If you have for Isodontia, then this is your data. Same thing for Megachile and for Osmia. I'm all the way over here for Hylias. No students are doing this. This is basically just for me to demonstrate for you for the video. So I'm going to be working with this data. But whatever species team you're on, click on that spreadsheet now and look at the data that pertains to your species. Okay, so I'm clicked on my species over here, Hylias, and I'm going to be showing you what to do with your data as well. Okay? So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to graph the data. The nice thing about this lab is that your data is already collected for you. So what you're going to do is you're going to drag your mouse over these two columns. Make sure you include the titles that say dates and Hylias nests. Okay, so I'm going to drag it over and highlight both those columns. I'm going to go to the top and click Insert. I'm going to go down to the bottom and click Chart. Okay, this little chart editor is going to pop up on the right-hand side, and you can edit your graph over here, and then it'll show you the results of what's happening here in the center. All right, so what I want you to do is I don't want a bar graph. If anything is ever graphed over time or you have dates, okay, you're going to use a line graph. That's going to show you change over time. So over here under data, it says chart type. You're going to click on that and then go down to the bottom where it says line. Okay, don't click this smooth line chart. Only click this first line graph. Okay, so now our graph has changed a little bit, and we should see just one line here. Okay. All right, so here's our line graph for our data. Your line graph is going to look different than mine, remember, because we're graphing different sets of data based on our species. So if yours doesn't look like then that's good, because you should not be graphing Hylias data for sure. Okay. Again, you can customize anything that you guys want whenever you want to. So you can change the background color and make it look fancy. I'm just going to keep it simple for now and go through the video with you. Okay, so now we have our graph. I'm going to X this out right now because I don't need it anymore for right now. But you can see over here I have three boxes, and it says average, minimum, and max. Okay, so I'm going to actually figure out the average date that Hylias bees nest. Then I'm going to find the minimum and the maximum date. But we're going to actually use our spreadsheet tools to do this rather than figure it out just by looking at the graph. So what I want you to do in this cell next to average, okay, I want you to type an equal sign, and in all caps, type the word average. You got to make sure that you spell it right. And next to the word average, you're going to put 2 parentheses. Just close them together without anything in the middle right now. Okay? This is actually a code, and this code is going to do all of the work for you. So once you've typed that out, you're going to take your cursor and place it in between the parentheses, just like that. Now it's asking you to input values. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your mouse, and you are going to highlight all the dates on the left-hand side over here. Just highlight, 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 and make sure you go all the way down. Some of you might not be as long. Some of you will be really short, but you want to get all the dates in there. Okay? So you'll see that your average is still popped up right here. You've highlighted all this. It should be highlighted in a color. Mine is pink. And then once you have done that, I am going to push Enter on my keyboard. Okay? And then you can see it filled in 7/29/2013. That is the average date for the pollinators of the Hylias bees that are nesting. Okay? We're going to do the minimum and the maximum in a very similar way. We're going to push equal sign. We're going to type in, for minimum, we're going to type min. We're not going to write out the whole word, but we're just going to write min. Oh, I'm in lowercase. Caps. Do the parentheses. And we're going to do the same thing. Click our cursor right in between the parentheses, and I'm going to highlight all the dates again, just like I did for average. Highlight all the dates, and mine go really far down. Woo! Okay, and then I'm going to push Enter. All right, and then max, we're going to do equal sign, max, and the parentheses. We're going to click our cursor right in the middle of the parentheses, and we're going to highlight all the dates again. And then push Enter on your keyboard. Boom. Okay? So, it did all the work for us. It sorted all the dates, because you can see they're kind of random. They're not in order. So it sorted everything for us, so we didn't have to go through and figure it out all by ourselves. All right, so we have our average, our minimum, and our maximum dates. All right, now we're going to add in some information that we have from the next step, from our provisions and plugs for our nests, okay? So we are going to actually look at that together, and then you're going to come back and watch this video. Okay, so hopefully you have your data table in front of you for the provisions and plugs for your species, okay? So for mine, we're just going to use mine as an example, but you need to look at your data table for your provisions and your plugs, okay? So for the predictor values, okay, the Hylias is actually unique in that it plugs its nest with silk that it makes itself. And obviously I don't have a silk option here at the top, so I'm not going to be plotting that data. Instead, I'm actually going to just use something else as an example, but it does use pollen as a provision. So I'm going to be using the information on this predictor variables tab in order to do the next part of my graph. Okay, so be ready to toggle between this spreadsheet and the one with your data and graph on it. Okay, so what you're going to need to do is click back on your graph, and you'll see these 3 little dots in the upper right-hand corner. You're going to click on those dots, and you're going to click Edit Chart. And then this little chart editor sidebar is not detailed enough for what we're about to do. So you need to go down the bottom here. It says Use the Old Chart Editor, and click on that. And a new screen will pop up with a little bit more information. Okay, what we're going to do is go back to Chart Types, and we're going to click this spreadsheet right here. Okay, this little box is going to pop up that says, what data? Okay? You're going to push add another range. Don't mess with anything in that first column because that's basically all the data that's already plotted. You don't want to delete that. So just go to this second part here, all right? And you're going to go back to the predictor variables. Don't worry, this will stay up. Go back to predictor variables. There you go. You can move this if you need to. And you are going to select the column for the provision resource for your species. Okay, so for example, my Hyleus bees use pollen as a provision. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this column, and you'll see that it kind of filled in over here on this second row. Okay, so whatever your provision for your species is, you're going to highlight that column. Not every bee species, the pollen is a provision. So if yours is crickets and katydids, then you're going to highlight that column instead. So make sure that you're looking at your bee species. Okay, once that's highlighted, you're going to click Add Another Range, and we're going to add in the plug for your species. Okay, so whatever your species uses as a plug, you're going to highlight that column as well. So like I said, the Hyleus doesn't really use any of these. It actually uses silk. Okay, so because of that, I'm not going to use this third column, but you will. So just highlight whatever column it is and go for it. Okay. Then you're going to push OK. Once all three of these boxes are in, you're going to push OK. And then you're going to push Update. It's going to take you back to your species data, and your graph should have changed. Okay. Once you have this all graphed, we're going to come back together and talk about the rest of the assignment. So just make sure you have your graph for your species.